It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast. It's been a while since I've done an intro for this thing live, but nonetheless, we're going to talk a little bit about Easter and spring and some adventures of Ben and Travis storyboarding, and we'll get to that right after these important messages. This episode of the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast is presented by Faulkner University. Faulkner University is a private Christian liberal arts university based in Montgomery, Alabama, with a mission to provide an education anchored by not only intellect, but also character and service. The Faulkner experience aims to educate the whole person. Every individual matters every day. We all want to become better versions of ourselves. No one wants to remain trapped where they are because of missed opportunities and unrealized dreams. At Faulkner University, we believe your dreams don't have an expiration date. We understand that you're looking for more than a degree. You want to find your niche and thrive in your career. Whether you're a high school senior just beginning your trek or an adult student looking for a better path, Faulkner is here to help guide your journey. Go to faulkner.edu to apply or get more info. That's faulkner.edu. I'm Travis Creasy. That's All-Pro Counselor with 3-Chord Counseling in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Ben Hayes, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just feeling a little tired and worn out from the whole Lads2Leaders gig. It was a great weekend, awesome time, but a tiring time, of which probably Will can tell us a little bit about as well. Will, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. Lads was a whole lot more fun as a teenager compared to being a parent. So, which I guess it's a lot of fun, you know, to watch your kids accomplish things and break some barriers of, you know, fear or whatever, getting up in front of people. But man, I feel like we had a whole lot more free time as teenagers. So I don't know if it's just they've added several thousand people, which I'm assuming they probably have since we've been a part of it. But yeah, great weekend. Highland Park took 20 kids, second grade and under. So
yeah, that was crazy.
I was like, man, that is some good job security coming down the tracks.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about it at supper tonight. I think that it might have been the track we were on too, that like last year it seemed, I mean, like we went swimming a couple of times last year. Like we had time to go do things. And this year it just seemed like there was never a large enough gap to be able to do anything like that. I mean, just to get a break. I didn't even go eat out until Saturday night. I went to the mall and basically got there in time to scarf a meal down and run back to the hotel. So
this was the first year for us that we've actually eaten at restaurants in the hotel, actually. And I realized why no one eats those in the hotel because of how much they cost.
Yeah. I did not eat any in the hotel. Except some coffee. I did buy some coffee.
There you go.
So any other press conference videos, is that what you're saying?
Probably true, yeah. I was thinking about those press conference videos, especially after like our Wednesday night meeting before, and then I thought, man, they would have applied very well to the weekend. So
then throw in, we're going to do a little podcast about a little basketball, but throw in, keeping up with the Tide playing, and then you guys actually got to get your picture taken. We won't get into too much detail. We'll save that for the good old fashioned, but y'all got your picture taken with the FHU National Championship trophy, and then we saw, I don't know if Will got to see them or not, but we got to see the initial storyboards for the Adventures of Ben and Travis.
Yeah, we did. That was awesome. Me and Will got to see the trophy. I later saw Drew Stutz, who's the coach, walking down the hall. We talked for just a second. And then, Jacob finished the storyboard for us. So kind of got an idea of what the pictures in the book are going to look like, just sketches. But, man, when he gave us the first sketch of the cover, it was kind of done in the same theme, and we were like, man, that's a pretty cool sketch. And then once we got the real thing, it was like, whoa, blows your mind. So if the book looks anything like, from the sketches to the actual artwork that the cover did, it's gonna blow our minds completely. So he's just super talented.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, what did you think about the weekend? What were some of your takeaways from it?
Man, I think it's the same for me. You know, I grew up doing Lads, super thankful that my parents pushed me probably more than I volunteered to be a part of things, because that's kind of gotten me to where I am today. So I'm thankful for that. I've always enjoyed it, and I think it's always been something that is beneficial. I think being a parent now, with Emmy, there's just that excitement, and I think this is across the board with any event that I do with young people. You just get renewed by their excitement, you know, to be engaged in ministry and good works of ministry, just to be involved in the church. And so it's hard to go to a weekend like that and just as a whole be discouraged, you know, just because of not just your own kids, but everybody's kids. And seeing the excitement. I think for me, it's more fun to see Emmy in the point of like not competing for everything, because I'm a pretty competitive person. I think anybody that's been in my youth group would tell you that. And I think competitiveness is good. And so I'm glad that they do that. I really am. But man, it's also just so cool to see every kid be awarded something, you know, in the younger ages. And I don't know if there's a way of doing that with the older ones, because I talked to a few of our kids from Tennessee that were in our youth group that were pretty just discouraged because they lost, you know, and I think there's some of those kids took that as, I'm going to be better next year. And I think that's the whole point of it. But, you know, I know those moments are coming for Emmy when she won't win or be chosen for something. But I hope the excitement's still there. And I'm thankful that Lads at least encourages, you know, hey, we want you to do this. And even you can be rewarded through Lads even without the competitive things that are there, just being at the church locally. And so, I mean, we had a great time. Emmy had a great time. She freaked out, you know, that she got a ribbon. She said the books of the Bible, and we videoed it, and I showed it to a couple people. And I think some of our teenagers that may not know all the books of the Bible got a little maybe kick in the butt there to, hey, if a 5-year-old can do it, I can do it. And so, you know, maybe Emmy at 5 influenced some people, you know, to motivate themselves to maybe spend a little more time in the Word. So, you know, all in all for us, Lindsay and I both did it growing up. It was good to be back and kind of reliving it through Emmy now. So it was a great weekend for us, and super proud of our Holland Park kids. Bransley was a finalist in speech. I know she was pretty pumped up about that. I was super glad that, you know, Lindsay said she did a phenomenal job. So, you know, just to see people start gaining even more and more confidence, I think is just huge, you know, as a whole.
It was kind of an interesting full circle moment. I didn't really think about too much until I pulled into my driveway at 1 a.m. On Sunday morning. But I thought for a minute until I looked and found a picture of my speech that I had done back when I did Lads. I didn't realize it, but it had been 29 years since I did my Lads speech that Miss Betty Flanagan wrote for me. I thought at first it had been 30, and so I went back and looked. It was 29 years ago, and Bransley, of course, it was Dad that brought me, kind of got me connected with Max Eady at church, or Max really was the one who invited us, and so I went with Highland Park, and then I got top 6. It's the only time I ever competed. I got in the finalists and in speech, and then I never went back as a student. And then this year, Bransley goes and you know, the first conference since Dad's passing, does a speech about Dad. You know, includes some things about him in the speech, and gets in the top 6. Doesn't place, but gets in the top 6. So it was just one of those, like, it kind of hit me 1 o'clock in the morning. Those kind of things tend to get you a little bit more emotional than maybe other times. But as I pulled in the driveway, I was like, that was kind of an interesting full circle moment there. So
that's cool.
Kind of makes me want to hear that speech. Kind of makes me don't. So maybe when I'm a little less emotionally damaged at the time, maybe I'll I can get through that.
Travis, the best part is we were all waiting to hear one of our other guys. I guess we could say he's an honorary Hayes. He's spent enough time. Colt was doing a speech, and we were sitting out waiting to go in since we had been going to a different room. And Lindsay's sitting out there, and these boys are over in the corner just kind of whispering, and they keep looking at Ben. They just keep looking. And Lindsay said she's sitting there, and all of a sudden one of them's like, that's Ben Hayes. Like, that's the one. And so I walk over to him and I go, hey, he will love it if you go up and go, hey, Travis, can I have your autograph? It's like that. He would thoroughly enjoy it. And so Lindsay posted it on Instagram and was kind of making fun of the idea that, you know, for some reason our preacher's famous. And her cousin DM'd her back on that and said, Ben and Travis are famous. Like, they really are. And I was like, oh,
people need to get out.
Doing great. Their standards of celebrities are.
Yeah, I don't think you know. There's a A-list, there's a B-list. We're somewhere down there, real low.
Like M or N or something like that.
Yeah.
We're way down that line.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I love to make the kids, you know, feel good. I'm not going to be like, I'm not signing your autograph, you know. But it is kind of funny. It's weird, but it's cool to know that. It's also really scary.
Yes, that's the word I was coming to.
People who do that, and I'm like, that means I better be on my best behavior at all times, and that's a little scary.
Well, you know how hard that is. That's very difficult for us to be on our best behavior. You know, and it being an Easter weekend, it's a special time, and I feel like you know, getting to see those storyboards was such a momentous occasion, but we were so busy and running around and something going on. And it's like, man, I couldn't give it the proper prop, so maybe the podcast makes up for it. But we'll be releasing some of that stuff going forward. But man, it is moving forward, and you know, just want to take a time to encourage everybody. Obviously, happy Easter. We hope everybody had a great, safe holiday. Many of them traveling to Nashville, Atlanta, Orlando, all over the place for Lads2Leaders, and of course, you know, the reason we celebrate Easter. Passover, resurrection, however you want to do it. That's why we do what we do here. We believe that all helping and healing and humor really comes from the Lord. Every good and perfect gift comes from Him, and none of those tops the greatest gift of salvation through Jesus. And so if you're listening to this and there's some way that we can encourage you or help you in your walk and journey with Jesus, or you'd like to know more, you can reach out to us, hello@benandtravis.com. If we can't help you in what you're going through, we certainly will do our best to help find someone who can. And of course, we know that all that begins at the throne of the Father. And so we want to certainly point everybody in that direction. Fellas, I'm glad that you had a good weekend. It was a busy one. I think I saw Ben in passing a couple of times. Maybe we shook hands. Maybe we hugged. I don't know that I ever laid eyes on Will. We do appreciate Lindsay posting that so that I could repost it and all of us get a good laugh at Ben. So anytime that works.
Always good, man. It's a good weekend. Easter weekend is fun. Anyway, Lads is great. Destin just helped us make resurrection rolls a few moments ago. If you haven't had those, they're solid. Put a little marshmallow, some cinnamon, and all the good stuff inside a crescent roll. And when it bakes, the marshmallow is gone and the tomb is empty. And it tastes really good though. So, and I think the ladies made that a couple of weeks ago at church. And one of the older ladies that you wouldn't expect to be like enthralled with that, she came out and she said, and you know, it was so good, and it reminded me that the fact that the tomb was empty, that's a really sweet thing. That's a good thing. What a great treat. So the sweetness of the resurrection is amazing. So we are thankful for new life.
Does that count for I am the bread of life, or is it too far? I don't know. We'll probably get emails, but that only means it's a good episode. So everybody take it easy, and we'll talk at you next week. We should have a live from Lads2Leaders episode maybe next week or in weeks to come. So we'll talk at you again later. Check out the Good Old Fashioned Dislike. It'll come out probably today or whenever, sometime this week.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.